busy week. The police annual crime report was launched this particular week, and quite disturbing findings in that report, showing that while the overall crime rate has dropped, the traffic offenses are on the rise, and subsequently fatalities on the road have increased. And Richard, as a road safety advocate, he must not be happy with such revelations. Of course, we'll be also looking at other issues, including the proposal within the FDC ranks, and more particularly the Katonga faction, to form a new political party. What does that mean to the political landscape in this country, and more especially the fact that 2026 is coming very fast. Let me introduce my guest this morning. Richard Baguma, please speak to our viewers, and we kick off the big debate.
Thank you very much, Apollo. It's always a pleasure to be back. Good morning to our viewers. Very happy to have you every Saturday, and you give us your time. We don't take that for granted. Always, Apollo, as I say, the all-powerful, the almighty God, and the all-forgiving, the all-merciful, is really the one who ultimately enables us to be here. So thank you, and the management. Of course, I'm happy to have my colleagues here, and I'm looking forward to a vibrant 2 hours. Yeah.
Talking about quite disturbing findings in the police annual crime report, what can you say about road crashes on the rise, and also the fatalities on the road increasing by a whopping 30% in 2023?
First of all, I have been talking to my colleagues in the police leadership. We have an understanding now. And I do not think that crashes are crime. So I don't know why crashes are included in the crime report. No, I think we should have a traffic report. Yeah, because why do we criminalize crashes? I don't understand that.
My assumption is because lives are being lost due to negligence of some other people, and that would be a crime anyway.
Yeah, but you see, this is the challenge we have now as road safety activists. There is a presumption of criminality or wrongdoing when a crash happens. Not necessarily. No. How many people do we know, for us on this panel, who have passed out on the steering wheel? Very prominent people. And those ones, we know them because they are prominent. One was here, the former MP, former something, chairman of Human Rights Commission, Haji
Medikagwa.
He passed out at the roundabout there. So imagine if it was not in the jam of the roundabout, it would have been a crash. So do we also criminalize that one? So we must be very careful, because when we come from the background of criminalizing it, then we don't deal with it. Because for us now, what we are talking about, because I am part of the executive of the Road Safety Coalition in Uganda. And now what we are talking about is, if we have to deal with this, we also have to present it properly. But away from that, this country is kind of taking a lead on the deaths on the road. There are two groups who are dying more than the others, by the way. It's the pedestrians and, of course, the motorcyclists. So that group of people are also quote-unquote vulnerable, also, although some of them are reckless. We know the main 5 risk factors. It is how are we reacting to them. When we criminalize it, we approach it from a police. But road safety managing road safety is way beyond the police. And that's why you see I'm saying we need to approach it differently. But for now, I think on the continent, we are among the 5 or so leading countries with death related to road movement. And when you add water, marine transportation, because you see we have high marine deaths, marine transportation deaths, and road-related deaths. So I think that's something. Our estimation now, we have a study that we have commissioned at the Road Safety Coalition of Uganda. The preliminary findings now, because it's being cleaned, we are going to launch it, shows that this country loses about 17.4 trillion shillings in the costs that are related to road crashes.
On top of lives?
Yeah, on top of lives. No, there is also, we also have a WHO formula for calculating loss of life. If Apollo dies, we say Apollo has been earning this, he has the potential to earn that, but he has also been looking after that.
Inclusive of
it is inclusive of that. What we have not included, what we are being challenged about, that's what is holding our report, is that we have not calculated the cost to the road infrastructure. Yes, when you get a crash and you knock the road signs or the road whatever, what is that cost? We also need to add that.
All right.
Yes. But 17.4 trillion is a huge amount of money to be losing every year because of road crashes.
Is a solution in sight?
We know the things we are supposed to do. We know it is speed. We are supposed to regulate speed. We know it's driver behavior. We know it's drink driving. We are not supposed to drive when we are drunk. We know it is not putting signage on places like schools. I went to Apollo. This where we are seated. We have about 5 schools around us. Just walk around.
There are no signs.
There are not even a sign that there is a school here.
Ahead.
Yeah. So we know the basic things. We know them. We are doing nothing of that.
Thank you so much, Richard Bakuma, Tinkasimire, communication expert and strong advocate for proper nutrition and road safety activist. Charles Kazoba is the executive director for Karibu Africa. Welcome to the panel this morning, Charles.
Thank you so much, Mr. Apollo, for the invitation, and Soul TV. It has been a while. I'm also pleased to share this platform once again with my elder, Mr. Richard Baguma. Always controversial as ever.
Kazoba is giving me a new title now.
Because, for instance, I really don't agree with him on his assertion that there is no criminality
in road crashes.
In
Apollo.
Those road accidents.
I wish we could play back. I did say there is a no. That's now a miscasting. Why are you miscasting?
But he has painted a broad picture. But my belief is that these are criminals due to largely negligence. If, for instance, a doctor operates your wife, and because he's negligent, leaves a tool, one of his tools, in your wife's body, that results into another dangerous sickness.
That is a criminal offense.
Exactly. Now,
criminal negligence.
Exactly. Now, that is what is happening. And my view is that we should even extend this to the mechanics. I think Waguma.
Vehicle, automobile mechanics.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, can I tell you what we have done?
Yes.
But you see, for us, we approach it more reasonably, not with you a choose. You know, choose. For you, approaching it with a choose. We have put in the law now, in the regulations. The minister signed them, it's already regulation. We haven't disseminated it. We are supposed to do that. Actually, even Parliament allocated money to the Minister of Works. The Minister of Finance didn't give it to them. So now, yesterday, we were meeting the Commissioner for Transport, and the people in the Ministry of Works said, We advocated for money to be given to you, Parliament gave it to you. I said, yes, thank you very much. But the Ministry of Finance for 2 quarters has allocated 0 on that vote of road safety. So you see, there is a lot of information that people may not have. That is why, you know, but what we have done is we have said we need mechanics and garages certified.
Okay.
But we don't come with a choose. We need to first build systems for certification because they don't exist. We also have to build systems for training. Where is the mechanics training school here? Where is the the big vehicle training driving school here?
The incompetence. The competencies in
no, it is a system-wide challenge. Now, when you pick the end result and you come with a choose, you are not solving the other problems.
Okay.
But also to add on, Apollo, we should be cautious as we apportion blame. Our law enforcement agencies are not quite facilitated. They also lack in training. Most of our agents don't have the requisite training that is for what they do.
You're talking about investigators in police departments or what?
All of them. All of them. So you need to...
So we lack capacity.
You need to fund police very well. You need to create for them an environment that gives no mercy in their day-to-day work.
Okay.
Before you even rush to blaming what they do and how they do it, are you treating them as human beings?
It's a long story. We are delving into a long discussion, quite broad, Charles. But
so can I put a request, Apollo?
Yes, please.
Can we have a program dedicated to roads?
Yeah, true.
Sure. Because this one is now we're going to talk about politics, transition, you know, and we go away. The people, because you see, if you take the statistics from the last 10 years, there is no year where crashes and deaths have gone down.
Yeah, they are consistently increasing.
Yeah. So I know the program is about something else, and you triggered this, but we need perhaps to talk about this a little bit.
It is important. Viewers, it is really concerning to learn that in 2023, 4,179 people lost lives on Uganda's roads.
13 people every day.
13
yes, people every day.
But before you rush to something else, Waguma seems to be informed in that area. These people compensated.
We were in Parliament the previous week discussing third party.
Exactly.
Who do you know who has ever received the compensation from third party? For a bus, the maximum is 10 million.
For third party fees every year?
No, the compensation amount.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Is 10 million. So if you have 64 people in a bus and you lose 7, and they're sick and everybody, they have 10 million to share.
It's little.
You tell me how will it go around? Yeah. So this problem is system-wide. But we need to sensitize ourselves so that you have the voice like Kazovas who goes on different platforms and puts this case.
Okay. Viewers, we've been joined by Mr. Msoke Hamis Walusindi, the Secretary for Presidency in the Opposition Forum for Democratic Change, FDC. Speak to our viewers, Hamis.
I'm happy to be among the panelists here on the dialogue program. A lot is happening. We're discussing about the crashes turning into criminality, but a lot actually is happening in Uganda. If you dig deep and move to prisons in Uganda, you'll find out that around 700 prisoners on capital offences, one can take 5 years when he or she is committed to high court to appear before a judge. Either for a bail application, because it's a right, either for a hearing. Everything is a story to tell, because I ask Mr. Baguma that how can an accident turn into a crime? I may have crashed, I may be riding a board and I end up into someone's car accidentally. Then how does that turn into a crime? It is really disturbing and confusing, but as he has suggested, I think we need time for that particular topic to discuss on how and which measures can be put forward, because you look at someone driving even besides the road and going because he's a government official. Yes, because he's a government official, he has an alarm, he has soldiers on him. You will look at someone who doesn't even have a right of way, because the law is clear on who has a right of way. Because he's an ammo, because he's a police officer, the one whom we should be expecting to respect the law.
Regulations, traffic regulations.
But the way things are in the country, it is a story to tell. We need to see that the Uganda we are in should be like a church, because when I decide to come for prayers, I don't need to be an army officer. I just need to be a Ugandan. We share the same oxygen.
Before God,
yes, we share the same oxygen. We use the same medication. Going to Mulago, I may not need to be a VIP. Going to a market, using the road. But things are like personal to some of the Ugandans.
Okay. Thank you so much. And
I just want to be clear.
Richard,
when I am addressing Haj Varsim, you said he's Varsim.
Yes.
Is he Katonga or Nanyanakumbi? So that I don't fall into trouble.
Let me also chip into that. FDC, Mr.
The one with the stamp or the one without a stamp?
FDC, Mr. Waguma, is one. We can never have two political parties in this Uganda if we are under the Independent Electoral Commission. It is one.
But
we are talking about the law,
spirit
Mr.
is real,
yes,
and the factions are too.
And they exist.
And they exist indeed.
The spirit is real, but I repeat before the world, because so TV is watched all over. FDC, if it comes to FDC, in law, apart from the spirit we are discussing, it is one. The function we are talking about doesn't have a constitution.
Mr. Watsim, I've already known where you come from.
Yeah.
If you ask, say, which section do you come from, it says FDC is one, then you know where it comes.
Yes.
The answer from Najana Nkumbi is FDC is one.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm FDC 7.
Najana Nkumbi.
Yes.
No, I know. Now.
Actually, it's something that confuses me when a faction still uses the party symbols and the party colors, and they still claim they are FDC, and of course there is a court ruling, I think, on the legitimacy of one faction. It's quite disturbing. And do you feel comfortable about
it? That cannot stop a member from using any attire of a party. They are party members, because look at MPs. Yes, look at MPs who are in parliament. They are on our FDC ticket. They are FDC members. That's why you hear even them, they say we will quit FDC when the time comes. They are FDC members, and what they are talking is about FDC.
So, for instance,
yes,
like the National Council that was held this week,
yes,
at Katonga,
yes,
do they have documents with headed paper indicating that they are FDC, and what is on their documents? Of course, I'm asking.
Nothing can indicate apart from them saying they are FDC. Our last National Council had on 15th December. We had a national council on 28th July that okayed the election that resulted into our leadership on 6th October. So anyone can call what he or she wishes to be.
But you agree that it indeed creates confusion in members of the public, hearing one addressing himself or herself as the president of FDC on one side, and another one claiming also to be a president.
That is being childish, because, Mr. Apollo, even if you call, we've been around seeing cars passing around that car is my Naz kids. That today, me and
I'm saying,
yes,
in the members of the public,
yes,
doesn't that really create confusion?
No, the public, the way things are, the public knows who is who. Because it is. Because the way we think that, let me give an example of those market vendors or street vendors. They are even at times much more informed than us. Power, when someone has power, power is clear.
So everyone, you assume that in this country knows that the president of the FDC is Honorable Oboy Patrick Amuriat?
With even no question, because now we have already identified a candidate for Dokolo by-election, the Dr. Rose Ogwal. Where is the other function you are talking about, this candidate? And how are they going to
nominate?
They know
that the spokesperson of the FDC is Mr.
John Chikonyogo. Yes.
And not Honorable Semi
No.
Donanda, not...
Everything is clear and people are following. Because now we are at a level of forming another party. Yes, they said they are the right FDC. And they are in the right leadership. Again, why are they moving into forming another formation? Why? Is it because this one, can they announce before cameras that now we are unable? Let's have another delegate conference to have new leaders as we march to form another formation. This thing is about ego.
They are on the road to of course elect. To hold a.
Why? Why, if it is not, Apollo, if it is not ego, having a position as the Secretary for Presidents, being a member of Parliament, having money on me and putting on expensive suits and cars, if it is not that, what is it?
Richard, do you agree that indeed...
No, me, I keep telling you. That
there is no confusion.
You have somebody as powerful as Yoweri Museveni in leadership, or those opposing him, they keep knocking heads. I keep saying this. That if you have somebody as powerful as Yoweri Museveni, when you are chipping at a concrete wall, and you start knocking it with your hands, you change, you look for a hammer, you change, then you get a cotapin, you hammer, you keep trying. That's why I said during when we hadn't come on air, I said, those people should not give up. Their objective is not to form a political party or put on a blue color. They can put on a color, orange or whatever. Their objective is to remove President Yoweri Museveni from power. That's their stated objective. So they will have to keep reinventing and rearranging and realigning. Because there are those ones who feel impatient, they think it's not moving, we thought it would move faster. There are those ones who say, no, but you're moving it badly, I want to be there. So
you think it's normal?
But certainly, if this is weaker because of the split. So for us to be...
And the public is not confused about...
Of course, we are very confused, of course. So for anybody to pretend that is not happening is not true. But you can't come on air and say the public is confused. If you are secretary for the presidency, I wouldn't say it. Am I mad? Yeah, one of the ministers the other day did not want to say hello to me because I come here and say, you see, the NRM is the Wading. He thinks I'm supposed to be aligned. I'm supposed to be in line. I say no, but you see, if you have supposedly NRM, it has no office in any of the districts except the other one which Nanif built for them, the husband of the treasurer, the Hajj. Otherwise, there is no office. I was telling him, I said, tell me, I come from Bara, where is your office of NRM? Or tell me in any other place. They quarreled with me the other time when I was passing, going to the law firm next to the one of This one here. Of
Plot
Kampala.
10 Chadondom.
At that time, the man who was the guard was putting on slippers at the gate. And that's the ruling for 38 years. And when I come here and talk, then I become controversial. But really, am I lying?
Charles, as we of course delve into our main topic, we are already there, but speak briefly about what Hamis talked about, and he says there's no confusion here. The public understands what is happening, and it's not only FDC actually. We are living in a country where almost every party is split into different factions. We have DP with different factions, we have UPC with 2 factions or 3, and now we have FDC with 2 different factions. And your neighbor Walusimbi says, no, the public understands what is happening, and they are not confused anyway.
I'm a member of NRM, and I believe him. I don't see any confusion.
Okay.
Besije, I'm one person that has been castigating him for a long time. I think Besije has taken a lot of people for granted. He believes he owns FDC, which is not true, because this is an institution that is made up of so many people. And if those people believe that...
You're bringing a smile on Walusimbi's face.
But that is the fact. Because you see, what is happening in FDC, tomorrow may happen to NRM. And they don't want to stand on the wrong side. I'm always on the right side, especially when it comes to the law. Now, if a party elected a new leadership, we should believe in that new leadership. It does not matter whether Besije has a lot of influence and things are not going in his way, then we should feel sympathy for him. Me, I don't. We should respect institutions, we should respect the rule of law.
Okay.
Especially when it comes to the Lord Mayor Kwago. I feel so disturbed for somebody to claim to have been an advocate for the rule of law for decades, and then he behaves to the contrary when it comes to his interests. Now, FDC, we know where the offices are. Let me tell you about Katonga. Mr. Wagumamia was a member of a party called NDP something. NDF, exactly.
Of Chapa.
Of Chapa Kalanga. That is where it was housed.
Then I'm not surprised you claim to be NRM. That's typical.
Now, I was in that party. I remember even mobilized the membership when I was still in secondary school. Okay. And Chapa was housed where Katonga is. Chapa still owns those premises. Now, for us to claim that there is a faction of FDC somewhere in Katonga, that is not true. But the truth is, Besije is not the right person. Is not the right person that this country should believe in. Because of his misconduct, we've seen people leave FDC because of Besije. All of them complain about his conduct. Personally,
but these who left, who are in the Katonga faction, are with Dr. Besije. So you cannot say.
But who are the Katonga? Who are the Katonga?
Because of him.
Who are the Katonga faction? Let me tell you. You look at the list. All of them are what they are because of Besije.
Okay, so
they have got positions because of Besije.
So you also agree.
But you have categorized him as a failure. If he's making people who
is.
they are,
See,
how does he become a failure then?
Besije had an opportunity from 2000 to grow a believable opposition. Today, opposition is what it is, partly because of Besije.
Are you saying it's not believable?
It is not.
So why are you categorizing what's happening as unbelievable?
But also,
can I chip in?
But also, before I conclude, there is one critical thing that we overlook. Our multi-party system is still very young.
Wapi. It is strangled.
It is very young.
Wacha.
Two, we lack a body.
Can we get to that, because it is part of our discussion?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can we kick off the show and we get deeper into that discussion? Let me tell our viewers that we are live on YouTube, we are live on Facebook and all other social media channels, Soul TV Uganda. This is The Dialogue. My name is Prince Apollo. In the studios, Richard Bagumati Nkasimire, a communication expert. We've been joined by Mr. Msoke Hamisi Warusindi. He's the secretary for the president of FDC, Tinajana Nkumbi. Though he says people understand exactly what is happening in FDC, but FDC has two factions, one at Tinajana Nkumbi and one at Katonga Road. But of course, Charles Kazoba is the executive director for
Karibu East
Africa. And what do you do? What do you stand for, Karibu Africa?
We do research on regional integration in East Africa.
Good.
Yes.
We'll be looking especially on the debate around transition, and it entails all what we have been discussing, I think. And we'll be also asking that question: why does it remain a thorny issue? Why are people not, why are they discussing transition, with that unease? And you listen to the sentiments from historicals like Honorable Kaindo Tafire. He's a general Kaindo Tafire, speaking about transition, and he says, well, if it has to be from President Museveni to possibly General Moses Kainerugaba, he must go through the constitutional process. It can't be a monarchy, and he has maintained his opinion on that particular issue. Actually, rubbing the wrong the other side that supports General Moses Kainerugaba, and again on the other side, you hear the minister in government, Honorable Norbert Mao, this particular week, saying it is time President Museveni should prepare for a peaceful transition. But it's not, the debate is not very new, like I said. It started off way back, I think, in 2011, when we heard about something called a chew, a succession chew, and it was quickly crushed. But it keeps popping up. The debate keeps popping up, and some people are not comfortable discussing this particular issue. And I will be asking Richard Baguma, is it long overdue? Is it time to discuss transition and peaceful transition, or we can leave it? It will happen by itself. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know whether Charles belongs to Perao. There is a new group now, Perao.
No.
Now that one you don't belong to it. I thought you were preparing to eat from the Sania. I don't know if my colleagues on this panel recollect. There was a manifesto which had the last time, 12 times. It was written in that manifesto. The President Museveni's manifesto, and it said, I'm finishing, this is my last time. I don't know if people remember it. At that time, I was arguing with the colleagues. We have these groups where we sit to share ideas regularly. About the way this country is going and what do we do as individuals, but also as groups.
More of a group or a think tank?
I don't know the difference. I think the people who drink marwa, they also think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm relating to the Madro group of 2000
That is the that
Yeah.
gave birth
that
to
gave
FDC.
birth to FDC.
Yeah. And you see where they are now. So if you denigrate Mara group, it brings the group that we so you have to pay attention to that process. So we don't dismiss. And I tell you the theory. We were talking to one of the very top leaders in this country one time, and we were dismissing one of the people who was showing interest in power. And he said, if you have a small snake, young one in your house, do you ignore it and say let it first grow old, then I will deal with it. So he said, please don't ignore anyone ever.
Really?
Don't denigrate anyone ever. If they are showing their head, please be careful. That's why you see when I sit with Warisimbi afterwards, I take his number. Because he may be secretary for the presidency to Nandara, not to
Secretary to the
poor,
presidency.
to poor.
To the presidency.
Yeah. The presidency is poor. There's poor.
President is
We have
power.
no, we have four deputies. So I do the secretary work to the four.
No, I understand that theoretically.
Yeah.
I'm saying the president, your president is poor. Yeah, you know, there are the theoretical bits which we talk about. Then there is also the everyday thing.
The practical.
Yeah, there is the everyday thing on the ground. That's what I was telling Apollo the other time. I was here. I said, if my brother, because he's my brother technically, the owner of this station has a chicken, let him go and eat it. He escaped death. You can go and talk all you want to talk. But we know these assassins have taken even generals. So the man is simply whatever God is preserving him for. So for me, they are the theories, and there is the real thing. So you see, this man may be secretary to that person, and the next time he'll be Minister of State in the office of the President.
Yeah.
So me, I don't take these things rightly. That he has reason to reach there. Where did he come from? How come he's the one who is there? So they are the theory. That's why you see when you keep telling me about transition, I say transition from where to where? That's the question I keep asking. Except for biology. President Museveni is here. This thing that you see, they are here. Even at that time, with my friend who's now a very strong, I can even say his name, Godbat Mshada, was one of the strongest proponents of Yoweri Museveni at that time. The man is going to retire, you see. I said, people, this man is going nowhere. This is a piece of paper with ink on it. That is not how he goes.
The ballot paper.
No, that was a manifesto. That is not how you see the people were how can I say unsure because there is brow. I said for me I am very clear in my mind in whatever I have observed for years. This gentleman is here.
But is
Except for other natural whatever, he is here.
But that is what I think the Honorable Norbert Mao talked about. He said, even if we don't discuss this particular issue, there will be a time when we will really need transition, and it is President Museveni now who is responsible to prepare this country for a peaceful transition.
It is first of all, it's a lie.
Alive.
It's a lie to say we have not been discussing this thing. We have been discussing it. It was even put in the manifesto. That was pressure. The man didn't put it willingly. It was pressure from his friends. He said, oh, okay, you want it in the manifesto, it is he. Of course, he didn't do it. They realized they all ran to the FDC before it split. Didn't they go? Mushega, Kategaya, Tumkunde, Tinyefuza, bro. They went. The one who saw that this man was not going to go away and took a bullet for it was Chiza Besi. Because for him, he had the courage to be the first one to go. But you remember the Let's say Rwanga, you remember them? And you see, it is because we forget. This man, the transition, I tell you, once he still has his energy, he will be here. But the discussions have been going on. So for us to lie that we are the ones starting this discussion of transition is also a lie. It is okay to be part of the transition. It is also okay, I think it is also right to recognize that this man
Okay.
Once he's here, he still wants his seat. We do not have the means to remove him now, but we don't have to stop trying if we want to do that.
But Richard, even if it is not the first time, and I said it has been popping up, the debate around transition.
Absolutely.
But I'm asking, from your point of view, do you think it has been given adequate platform, adequate attention to exhaust it and possibly come up with the strategy and the best way to usher in a peaceful transition?
I say for me the wrongest problem is to assume that the one who we think we are going to transition after is going to allow that debate to mature.
Oh.
No, that for us to wait that it has been given, who is going to give it? We have to fight to take the space. So if we are waiting to be given, who is going to give it?
Won't it be in his best interest to have a peaceful transition?
I don't know his best interest. I know it is in our best interest. I know it is in my best interest.
Okay.
Yes. But to wait that I am going to be given space to do that, no.
So we have to keep pushing,
Yes.
pushing and pushing.
Yes.
Charles, what do you make of this debate around transition? Do you think it has been accorded adequate attention, given adequate platform? And anyway, do you think it is necessary?
There are two things that are bound to happen. One of the two has to happen. We either get a peaceful transition of power from the revolutionary government to another government that comprises of civilians, or we shall have a revolution, a second revolution. It's one of the two. Now, and I agree with Mr. Baguma that it's not the president, it's not President Museveni to offer the peaceful.
To allow debate to flourish.
He doesn't even have to allow. Why should he? He doesn't have. He has played his part. Now, our generation has to play its part. What do we want for our country? How do we want it to be? We should not keep thinking in the mind of President Museveni and his colleagues. They have played their part. Our task now is, like he has said, they meet and discuss. As a country, are we talking? Are we arriving at a consensus? Because it appears, for instance, that several groups are looking at individuals. And that is the problem. We want Bobby Wine to succeed Museveni. We want Besigye to succeed Museveni. We want General Mohozi to succeed Museveni. Now that is where the problem is. Because the problem is not the individual. It is the system. Me, that's my belief.
Okay. It is the system.
And that system, if we want a better system, there has to be a deep discussion on what exactly we want as a country before we even
Are
arrive.
we delving into that discussion? Is that discussion
Now, at different
moving?
groups and formations, that discussion has to take place. As a country, the other day I was sharing views with some people in the opposition, and they expressed their fear that if we leave space unoccupied, there is a likelihood that we are going to get crooks, rogues, who will take up that space and take over the country.
The rogue is coming in from where?
Of course, I don't know, but let's leave it at that. Now, every politically aware individual should be engaging in that discussion.
Okay, so you
Because
agree that we need the debate and the discussion.
You don't have to get permission from President Museveni. Museveni has played his part, I can tell you.
Okay. Unfortunately, our time is running out. We need a break. Viewers, it is the dialogue, and we are looking at the debate around transition and possibly why it remains a thorny issue. And indeed it is happening. People who speak about transition, and Richard knows it. Everyone who has come out to unequivocally speak about transition, he has been referred to the Constitution. That the Constitution is clear. After every 5 years, we have had the transition. But the transition we are talking about is a peaceful transition from President Museveni to another president, and possibly that can be either from within the NRM or from outside the NRM. We're going for a short break. When we return, this debate will continue, and it brings up on board all these other issues we've been discussing about FDC planning now the Katonga faction to form a new political. Welcome from the break. Welcome to the dialogue. My name is Prince Apollo. In the studios, I have Richard Bagumba Simpasimire, communication expert, Kazoba Charles, the AD, Karibu East Africa, and Walusindi Amis Musoke, the Secretary for Presidency at the Najana Nkumbi offices of the Forum for Democratic Change FDC, looking at the debate around transition, and of course looking at what is playing out in the public, the sentiments, the moves and formations, especially after the Katonga faction of the FDC came up with a proposal to form a new political party. Is it a good idea or a bad idea? Well, there is a split in opinion within even the members of the Katonga faction, others saying, yes, it is time possibly to get a new vehicle, while others say it must be given time and it must come through a national consensus. They must consult widely before they take up that rather Herculean task. Well, looking at the whole debate, we also pick the views of the Honorable Norbert Mao. This week, he said Museveni must, at this point in time, prepare Uganda for a peaceful transfer of power. And we also look at sentiments from generals in the army like General Kaindo Tafiri, who is saying, well, if it has to be a transition, it shouldn't be a transition from directly from President Museveni to his son. And if General Muhoozi Kainerugaba wishes to take over from his father, he must go through the constitutional process of elections, and he must compete to take power. Well, it's a discussion that has been going on, but we opine that it remains a thorny issue, because, like I told Richard Baguma, every time some people have come out to say we need this debate, others have responded in the negative, saying it is already sorted in the Constitution. Every 5 years there is a transition, but seems like the transition we are talking about is not what we see every 5 years. Kazoba Charles, you must conclude on your submission, and you seem to say that it's necessary to have this debate going on, but you say President Museveni is not the person to either allow this debate to go on or to move. But I must tell you that you cannot rule out his participation in this transition debate.
Of course, he's a Ugandan and is also a leader. He can choose to participate in the discussion. He can choose not to. And the reasons are there. For instance, he might believe that his system is perfect for the country. But also there are those of us who believe that everything that has gone wrong is because of the system, the flaws in the system. So you need a new system. Therefore,
the system he has presided over for more than 38 years.
That is the problem now. He might believe, or he believes, that it is the perfect system for the country. But like I've told you, there are those of us who believe that the system is flawed, it has flaws. Therefore, you need a new system. So the discussion is, what is the best system? I can tell you today, the country is bitter because of corruption. Is it Museveni who caused corruption? Some people might say yes, but others might say it is a resultant effect of the system. So you need a system that cures that. With corruption, there is nothing that can move. Everything stagnates. Every government policy cannot work out. Therefore, what would be the best system? That is why it is important that each group that has interest in politics, each citizen should discuss what is best for the country. Rather than discussing, my problem is those that want to focus so much on individuals. Let us first discuss and agree on the system, what is the best. Then we can identify the individuals, the candidates that can implement that system. But if you begin with individuals, then you are not going to cure the problems that the country has faced since independence. Since independence, we've been looking at individuals. Our Bota is the best for us. Our Mwanga is the best. You fail to look at the system that brings out the best. So President Museveni, he's lucky. For him, he has played his part. Even God is happy with him. Some of us are also happy with him, because getting the country from zero to where it is today,
from zero.
it was from zero. I've looked at the figures. You go back to the figures. It's from zero. So the man is should be seen as a hero. But now, what is the next chapter? And I can tell you, everybody should discuss this, whether it is the military, whether it is the civilians, whether it is the politics. Everybody should discuss this, including the clergy.
My question again, has it been given adequate attention and platforms? The discussion around
you see, I've told you, President Museveni is challenged. Because when this discussion starts, then you are actually saying, human, it seems you've not done enough, or you've not done anything.
No, it doesn't mean so.
Yes, but there is that
you may have
fear.
done enough, but it's time. It's time to think about pro-Museveni era.
Museveni, in my view, and I critically...
No, post Museveni era, not post Museveni era.
Yes, but what I'm saying, you are raising a very important issue. Is this discussion being given time? Museveni is giving it time in his own way. I'll give you an example. The UPDF establishment 2021, which has just been launched. One key point is that
he has delegated.
Not delegating. The CDF can run the army independent of the commander in chief.
And you get.
Let me tell you what that means.
You get a hard stare from Richard Baguma.
It means, for instance, if there was a popular civil unrest and the people decided to chase the president, the CDF might differ from the president and say, please, gentlemen, The people no longer want you here. Get on the plane and go. That can happen. You see, that is in itself an element of transition.
Oh, so you're saying he's also facilitating transition?
He is doing it in his own way as an individual.
Hamis, talk about the transition debate.
Thanks, Apollo.
Do you think it has been given adequate attention?
Not really, because when I dig deep to change the number of the people we have in the house, because by now one of the things would be looking at or interested in as opposition would be maybe forwarding a transition bill to Parliament. The way things are, it's like changing from one person to another person. It's like a hereditary system that we are heading to if we don't dig deep into what is happening. Four things can give power. Even the power-seeking groups are not shedding that power they want to the public, because four things have to happen for the change to happen. It has to be an election that someone stands in and wins and is declared a winner. Two, there has to be a dialogue, as we are in a dialogue program. But I don't think whether that can happen. Four, it has to be a coup, like the way Yoweri came and someone takes over the establishment. Four, it has to be an uprisal. That is an intersection of mobilization and organization of masses to come on streets so that change can happen. But the way things are is those change-seeking agents among themselves are at them being leaders at the helm of the vehicle that would bring change. Because
are those entities you're calling change-seeking agents?
Yes.
Inclusive of the FDC?
Yes, of course. Because if you say we can no longer work with FDC Najana Kumbi, we need another vehicle. How sure are you that that very vehicle can deliver to where you are heading?
But that's also how FDC came.
Yes, but again, at the same time, you are telling the people, those people you say they don't understand whether FDC is 1 or 2, they understand more than to an extent that even if you have 4, 5 candidates on a presidential level, them they can organize themselves and vote one person. This calls for a clear discussion on how we need this transition. It is not that we are taking here on SOTTV. It is a process and something harder than we think. People died.
Have we started on that process?
It
in
is,
your opinion?
To me, the transition has been around just because we are forgetting. And I would refer you to, at one time, if you can invite Andrew Mwenda to brief you much on the transition the transition discussions that was headed by the Swedish embassy. What happened? What went wrong?
How did it end?
Yes, what went wrong? Because it ended as if the issue between the candidate who has won and the one who say I've won and I was not declared, it sounded personal. Yes, and Mwami Museveni, it sounded personal. And Mwami Museveni in the end was saying, we need to first talk, us the two. Then those who were behind got skeptical, saying, why are they only talking to? Why not all of us? This is why us, based in Najana Kumbi, we are afraid and worried of that personal syndrome of political parties. Because, Apollo, let's say if Bobby Wine one time says, I'm okay, I've gone back to Magere, Kavule people, and nope, I'm done. Like what Dr. Besigye did in 2012. He gave up the leadership. Would Nope be there? We've been in an election 2021.
But
he was
even-
not around.
But even
Even if you look
wait a
at
minute.
these NRM people, if Museveni is
Even-
normal,
even
NRM
when
will be
they
normal.
did what you think is right and correct, if this is still is swimming in problems.
But without his input, because he gave up, it was a bad timing for him to give up the party. Because you may have been around, you've not been at the helm of the leadership, you've not been part of the system. Again, you are questioning much. To an extent, to the time that even when you were around, we wouldn't question you. Us as FDC, we have principles
So
when it comes
at
to...
National Nkumbi, you now agree that transfer of power
Yes.
within the FDC was a mistake.
Transfer of power? No, it was
Change
even late. It happened late. We should give credit.
But you said Bestie left.
Yes. The time he left in 2012, he even had like 2-3 years as a party president of that very party. You are even forgetting that FDC had a function led by General Muntu with around 22 MPs who were in parliament that ran away in 2017 when Oboy was versing Muntu. Yes, and culminated into Alliance for National Transition. Yes. FDC is a bit a unique party because whenever we swing into an election, that is expected and it happens. It is normal. But I don't know whether NRM will ever have one election that the chairman is versed by someone else.
But
And that cannot arise.
NRM is a revolutionary party.
But it is a political party.
It is not like your party.
I'm much interested in seeing Bobby Wine being
so you're
versed
saying,
with
you're saying while
Buga or Nambeshi in an election and their leader emerges as a NUP leader.
okay, so you're saying
Yes.
much as it
Because we can't Apollo give what we don't
You're
have.
saying
People
much
down
as-
there, all their eyes are on us.
you're
What are those people
saying
doing?
much as it is important to have the transition
Yes,
date,
yes,
even some political players, especially on the opposition,
yes,
are not ready
yes.
to
Because they have their
possibly
personal...
take power,
Yes, because they have their personal ambitions within what is happening.
including FDC.
Yes, look at what is happening. Look at what is happening. Apollo, we are
You're
here.
being
We are
realistic.
here. We are here at Rubi. We are here at Rubi roundabout. We are saying we are going to Jinja. Then how can someone stop me at Nantawetwa? That stop when we are heading to Jinja. A transition or change, it has to happen. Because Museveni is not immortal. Anything will happen. Anything will happen. But the question is
Whether you're ready or not ready,
Yes, the question is
transition
what is going to happen after all this? Because if you tell us that now we need new formations, because even in NUP, we are not talking about NUP, you are matching to FDC. NUP, anytime from now, a new political party may arise from them.
Yeah, but NUP, you can't compare FDC to NUP. NUP is just a young part of.
The party has been
less than 6
around.
years.
It is a matter of branding. It has been around.
It registered in 2019.
Dig much into how NUP became
Okay.
NUP. You will tell how old that party is.
Richard,
It is an old party.
you heard from your neighbor confessing that even when they are in opposition, they are not organized, they are not ready to take power in case of a peaceful transition. And does that stop us from pushing for peaceful transition? And anyway, in such a circumstances, what would happen? You have a party that, an organization that has been in power, an establishment that has been in power for more than, it will be 40 actually, more than 38 years, but the alternatives are not ready.
Maybe to come
I
in.
think there is... you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to say something. Apol is maybe misgetting me. I didn't say that opposition is not ready, but the way things are, we need to look deeper into our personal ambitions and targets and target at the change, because the Ugandans outside there, they're interested in the change of this country into another person, not these cheap things that I'm the interim president, I'm the president.
Richard had you well, possibly. He will respond.
I think there is for different people, for several of us, I think there is a kind of, we are not talking about the same thing. A lot of people talk about, when they talk about transition, they mean the end of Museveni's presidency. To them, that President Museveni has been there, we should have another president. That's what for them transition means. They really don't think about a lot of the other fundamentals. No. So that's a voice that sometimes you feel like is predominant. When you talk about transition, it means President Museveni stopping being president. That's transition. Whatever else comes, you know.
Perhaps because they have known only one president.
Yeah.
In their lives.
Yeah, perhaps. Each one has their own reasons. So perhaps that is one of the reasons. But that's the understanding. Now, for me, the transition is not really about just having President Museveni, not president. No. Because if things remain the way they are going, for example, if President Museveni stopped being president for whatever reason, but you still have the looting, and you see me, the stealing and looting, which we want to call corruption. It's a very, for me, I think it's a very sanitized word. That you continue with the looting, the stealing of all this, the hemorrhage. I am not sure that you will have had any meaning in therefore a change. It's the change of faces. I don't think there will be any meaning in that change of faces for me. So I'm not focusing on just simply a change of face. Of course, when we talk like that, many people say all this that is happening is hinged on that one person.
But again, Richard,
so if he goes, then everything else will go.
Richard, also you should also think about why people are now more and more focused on changing that person. There must be a reason.
Yeah. And there must be a reason. I don't know people's reasons, but you suggested one. Perhaps that it. I've also suggested another where sometimes you talk to analysts who are supposed to be analysts, and they tell you, no. Everything that is happening is crafted and driven and guided and by that one person. So in their understanding, if that one person moved, everything else around, there would be, what do you call it? There would be a realignment, and things would change. I am not sure about that. You see, I think one of the things, what we haven't tested are the fundamentals that sustain President Museveni for 40 years in power. What are those fundamentals? What are the tenets? If he changed as an individual, would those fundamentals necessarily change? Is that true? Are there power levers that would remain in place? I keep telling people that, you see, when the senior Kabila died by assassination in Congo, it was the junior Kabila who came. And the junior Kabila is because the pillars of power realized that if they don't maintain that system, they are going to clash and they all lose. Because they are all the pillars of power who benefit in different ways from the status quo. So when they realize that when you destabilize this superstructure so much, they will all lose, they will agree. That's what happens in Kenya. They can have extremely bitter campaigns. And once the decision is made on who becomes the leader, you see them realigning. Because each of the groups finds they have something major to lose. Now, that's what I keep asking is, have we built ourselves to the level that I will be having something to lose? It doesn't matter whether it is Museveni or SJ or Bobi Wine.
About common interests.
Yes, have we built, and usually the common interests are economic measure. The other things become subject, and then so it is, and then expressed through power positioning. Yes. If, for example, I keep saying this, if, for example, the central region, Buganda, feels that somebody who is coming will threaten the position of the Kabaka, they will not align with that one. They will align with the other one, whom they think will preserve the position of the Kabaka. If, for instance, the Catholic Church thinks that the person who is coming is going to destabilize their positioning in the country, they will not align with that one. So you have to read the interests. So I'm not sure that it's necessarily true that if you change face, the fundamentals will all change.
All right.
No.
Thank you so much, our viewers. This is The Dialogue, and looking at the transition debate, especially at a time when we have had an establishment in power for more than 38 years, and sentiments coming out even from leaders in government calling for a discussion and a debate that continues to be a thorny issue. Richard, did you agree with Charles when he said that the recently UPDF establishment 2021, that document, policy document, they say delegates most of the powers from the commander-in-chief to the CDF. Do you agree that that is part of the transition, like Charles said?
No, I don't think the document says even that. No. I think the document is akin to the rationalization happening in government, in the non-military side. This has been going on. I think the first defense review we had was in 2000. So we had the defense review because of the emerging context and security circumstances around us, and the change, because you see, you had a Bush army. The Bush army came into government. It has been around, the Bush army is aware that they cannot remain the way they are necessarily. They will have to, certain things have to change. When the people came, they didn't go to Somalia, they didn't go to South Sudan, they didn't go to take over in Rwanda or in Congo, they have now. You have other elements that happen now, a lot of internationalization of military processes. UN has now, standby forces where the East African Community, the African Union. So the NRA recognizes that it has to transition and move towards some of those. But secondly, a lot of these people have been to elite military academies now. So they go and pick. The elements, for instance, that were not there. One of the time, General Sare was speaking, and he said, my son, General Mohozi, is the one now who came and he's telling me about what do you call it? When you have this, the word has gone, but you have this combined command of all the elements. Because you see, the elements have to move together. It has to be a joint strategy. Yes, it has to be a joint strategy. Why, when you are doing marine, bombarding with marine, the air support, what is the air support for your objective? The objective is that one you want. What is the ground support? Who comes in first, who goes where? But that's one. So and this one has been, so it's a consolidation, rationalization, and reorganization.
It is part of the evolution process within the UPDF, and has nothing to do with the transition of the transition process in this country.
I don't know about this transition process.
But he has already told you. Although he hides, he keeps putting cosmetic on it.
But in the document itself,
the fact
I think I had
because for me, let me tell you, Apollo, why I want the clarity. I keep saying, for people, they say transition means President Museveni is first getting off the power. That is what. No, for me, I think President Museveni, as a commander-in-chief, is reorganizing that his most important thing, which is his spear, becomes even stronger.
The UPDF.
Yes. So it's not about him moving away. It is about him consolidating his position.
I heard from the speeches from military officers on that day saying that the commander-in-chief is delegating command to the CDF.
Okay, so tell me, when has the commander-in-chief not delegated command? The commander-in-chief delegates command of the UPDF to the Chief of Defense Forces. By the way, remember the Chief of Defense Forces is a new title. We used to call them Army Command. Yes. And they have reorganized the departments, if you see the organogram.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even the names of
the directorates.
The directorates, the PROs now.
Yeah. So
the spokesperson is now the PRO of the Defense Force, and they all have changed.
Yeah. But you see, like the PRO has been also the PRO for the Ministry of Defense. Why? So it is the commander-in-chief delegates the command of the armed forces within the prison services to the Commissioner General. Delegates the command of the armed forces in the police to the Inspector General. So there is no time that he has not delegated.
Okay, talk about the developments at Katonga and the proposal to form a new political formation, a new political party. Do you think it feeds into what we've been talking about, a whole process of transition, preparing for transition, or possibly it is disintegrating the forces that possibly could deliver that transition?
I appear with my friend Semuju on a talk show, another talk show every week, once a week. I told him before this that him, Semuju, should be preparing which vehicle. For political vehicle he will be part of come the next political dispensation. I was telling him he is unable him to continue. I was telling him the Suvi group. I don't know if people forget that there is a political vehicle called Suvi. Where people don't read the Suvi group in all this. I told you, when you are chipping away at a concrete wall, you have to keep looking for different tools and methods. Yeah, and this is what has been happening. You see, in the NRA group that came, if people are talking about disintegration, then there have been more movements, there have been more factionalizing from the original NRA than any other group. Yes. So if people are talking about people changing positions or color of vehicles, the opposition in this country, like the ruling group in this country, they must reinvent themselves. That's why I was telling you that, you see, if the Central Executive Committee can say, let's wait for a decision on Perao, then you know there is a realignment. And the realignment is obvious, that there is a group. You see, when people call young, that you see the young group, which young group? If you have a group that is led by people who are 50, they are 50 years. Our age mates are only 4 years, 3 years older than they are. And you call them young. They are not young, they have matured. But they are saying, and this one I keep saying, one time I was on another TV with Angelo Izam. And he said, you see, this group that has refused to go has eaten all our opportunities to also serve. So this group is saying, we are going to push you. Or we have to drive this together. Where are our seats? And that's why you see
the Patriotic League of Uganda.
Then what do? You have to create space for them. They are agitating. It is the same in the other spaces.
FDC.
Yeah, so when you say there is factionalization here, I can guarantee you there is going to be factionalization in NUP. That is guaranteed.
Quickly, you think it is not right to have the Katonga faction move ahead? And Richard says it is normal and it is okay for them to find another home if they cannot if they cannot go back to the headquarters.
Me, I would love, because among the discussion points that were discussed during their National Council was the dialogue. They are also looking at how they can dialogue with us, and as a team, our doors are open to listen to each other. we are into this not because we are very powerful. In any struggle to have change, even a person who can provide food is a fighter in that very struggle. So it is that uniqueness of characters that brought us together to work together. The time of dialogue among the groups would be a solution to this, but thinking of having another political vehicle calls in a number of questions that cannot be answered. Because you say, these people were paid by a person who is still around. How sure are you that the vehicle you are creating will not be paid?
No, it is them who actually choose you.
And they have failed to prove that.
Receiving money.
The evidence is not there. The evidence is not there. The principle in our party is you don't disclose your funders to the party. It is by principle. Because Apollo, Mr. Richard may fund, but look at a situation whether when I go to Camelas or in our next meeting and I say I have a communication expert delivered this much and much to FDC.
The party who
even if he doesn't have evidence, all those people you are talking about, I've been with them in the very meetings we're in. The evidence is not there. The elders committee was set up.
So you
meetings
also say they have
coming.
been paid. You also claim they have been paid.
Yes, haven't you heard that Lord Mayor is supported by General Sare? Those are just allegations.
Claims and allegations.
Yes, same to the data money they are saying it is an allegation. There is no proof. These are just stories. That calls for listening to each other, moving together, but creating another vehicle. I've told you I know all these people. Even when it comes to funding the party you are talking about, it's going to be one man, the retired doctor message. Others cannot even contribute a single penny for the creation of that political party. They are just well-wishers. Creating a political party is not something in the environment we are in this Uganda. You wait.
So
I wish them well.
You wouldn't advise them to start a political party?
No. This Uganda is for us all. But the way things are, there are even other people among us who may be in their heads think, those who claim that they are NRM members after Museveni, they will not be in Uganda. But this Uganda is for us all.
After all the accusations
Yes.
and counterclaims
Yes.
you've had from both sides,
Yes.
you still think you can reconcile?
If our target was going to Jinja, not stopping at Nantawetwa, Ring Road, we have a long way to go. It's not that I speak a lot of Kiswahili.
You don't have a history of reconciliation. When you had issues, ANT block off, and they are...
But again, they are coming back.
Who is coming back?
Aren't you seeing General Mutu working with Besigye and team?
No. Inside
They are not working together.
Inside NT.
They are working.
Their party.
They are working together. And them now they are saying, since those ones who used to call us Moors have gone, others behind curtains say we can work with you, Naja. That's what is happening.
Are you saying
that
ANT
yes.
is now extending a no-leaf branch to their mother FDC? At
yes, if the issue, Mami Apollo, is to have a change that can benefit all of us, even if you are blind, even if you are lame. It's not about individuals who think we are personal holder to them. A revolution is not a one-man army. It is a combination of things. We have not even sat and drawn a spectrum of allies to see who brings what. What is NUP bringing? What is FDC bringing? What is DP having? What is in UPC? How can we merge those strengths you have, the uniqueness in you? We see that we have the change that can satisfy these Ugandans. The Ugandans out there, Mami Apollo, are interested in how they receive services. Those who want change, how we can have one person as a president to another person. Not I'm seven to I'm seven to Buhaburua.
Thank you.
People down there need change that can satisfy them.
Charles, proposal to have the Katonga faction start a new political party. Good idea, bad idea?
First of all, I wanted to add on to what my senior Waguma said in regard to the military, I would like to assure him that the military is now more politically aware. Most of them are doing political science courses. Most of them. The military is now transitioning into an independent institution. So in the case of anything...
Independent of who?
Independent of
Under
the
who?
commander-in-chief.
Under who?
It is. It is growing. And that's why this thing was launched. But they don't come out clearly to state that.
Okay.
Now, he also said that the transition is most likely going to be managed by the elite. And on that point, I also want to disagree. He excludes the population.
So the elite are not part of the population. Because
Apple, can I chip in?
why do you separate the population between elite and non-elite as if they are not part of each other?
Clear that.
Information?
You see, if we are not careful, and I see the conditions are present, let's not ignore them. The population itself might start their
For a revolt,
yes.
And it will be led by the elite. That is for sure.
it must be led by
No.
the elite.
Apple, I just want to inform him
Inform me.
that transitions in the whole country, I would advise him to check on how Angola transited and how Kenya transited. It is those professors around there that sat and agreed. Those are the elites we are putting out into this game, that you can lead us. But if they don't
you see,
embrace you, you can never
No, the
be a
masses-
president
Let-
of
the
a
masses
government.
must be mobilized.
Yes.
Let me first tell you. What is happening in opposition as of now
Yes.
has itself discouraged the people.
No, it's not.
If we went for elections now, today, this year, Museveni can even get 80. It is possible.
According to you.
You have disappointed your people.
According to you, disappointments have been
it's not to
around.
me.
We are just
You opposition.
We are just here.
You
Charles,
opposition.
we are just drumming that friction in FDC right now.
Every-
Are you forgetting what
every-
happened during
every-
during Aunties moving away? Wasn't it a friction?
Every opposition group,
was a friction.
Every opposition group today is being accused of fighting over money. Every opposition group. The population has lost faith in you. They felt you were the alternative.
What are you
But
saying,
today,
Charles?
the population has no faith.
To you.
So
It is not to
you
me.
believe you believe the population, the not only the population, the members of the low-ranking members of society can mobilize themselves for
Without-
revolt
without an
the
elite
contribution
direction?
and mobilization from the elites.
You don't need these people, the political elite. You don't.
My goodness. Not even political elites.
The
Elites are
population-
key in any transition.
Mr. Apollo, today Ugandans have issues with their livelihoods. They have issues with their employment. They have issues with
This one.
what is supposed to give them income. They face high taxes. Look at the people in agriculture. They have problems. The tea industry is having issues. The coffee has issues. Livestock has issues. Fishing has issues. And what did you get from the opposition?
Okay.
Now,
Unfortunately, we only have 4 minutes to
about the
to
party.
work out forming a new political party.
It only favors nobody, if my calculations are right. Like he has told you, and I agree, only Besija would invest in such a party. But also Besija is tired. He has invested so much in FDC. Now, these are the people,
It has been a
the Semujungandas, They would be at a more advantage if they joined, for instance, NUP, because of the Uganda issue, to retain their constituencies.
Okay.
But the other groups, the other individuals, should just go back to Naja Nankuma.
Okay.
Yeah.
Finally, Hamis,
Yes.
You're parting short in the whole discussion we've had.
Yes.
What can we expect?
What is happening outside there, members that we've been, if it is speed, we've been at 6 stars FDC, but now we are coming to 90, 85 moving. All those
With another
no, members are coming back to the party. Members are coming back.
Okay.
That's why we introduced that picking of interest nomination forms. Many have picked nomination forms, even those you sat Katonga, let me say it here. They have picked interested to go back and contest in their very constituencies they are running up to now. Many are picking and the grassroots, where even elections never happened. Elections are going on. What the party now needs to do is to have a platform on how members can talk. And it is one of the resolution, an EC resolution, that this thing is not done at wholesomely, but it's done at individual basis. That Apple, I know your number, I know your village, I need to drive, come and talk to you, and we talk.
Do we have
then after talking, you can
According
come.
to you,
Yes.
do we have a peaceful transition inside?
Inside FDC, inside Uganda.
In sight, in future,
Yeah.
in the near future, do we have? Do we
Obvious, a transition may happen, but the question is how, with whom, where, and when. Those questions have to be answered clearly. The transition is on the way, it's coming, believe it or not. But the question is,
I said peaceful transition.
a transition is a
Richard,
transition, Apple. Whether
Richard,
peaceful or not peaceful, it will be a transition.
Richard, your final comments as we close the show.
The people can form all kinds of vehicles for political reasons. There are two things. One is even to get a little bit more voice than they have, which is little. They have to work out a formula of how to share space in that vehicle. Once they keep factionalized, no way. Factionalization will keep happening because there is a powerful pervasive force at the top. And that powerful pervasive force will not allow free and fair elections. So changing through an election is one, because he said for changing through an election, as long as we have the same circumstances now, that is not going to happen. If the same force has the same power over the armed forces, changing through the armed forces is also not going to happen yet. So that's why you see, I see a transition, quote unquote, as a remote possibility in the next 5 or so years. I see it as a very remote possibility, except for natural reasons.
Thank you so much, our viewers. Thank you so much for your time. Our time is up, and we must come again next Saturday in another edition of the Dialogue. Yes, wish you a splendid weekend. Sorry that we could not take your observations and comments, but we will do it next time. My name is Prince Apollo. Good afternoon.